Good evening. This is Maestro Critello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today we have a 2v2 on Valderus Refinery. Our first player today is Phoenix, playing as the Force Commander. The Force Commander is a tanky melee hero. He starts out with a bolt pistol and chainsword. You can switch out that chainsword for a power fist, a power sword, a thunder hammer, or you can switch out the bolt pistol for a storm shield. He can tie things up, he can disrupt with battle cry. He also supports his troops by buffing them with battle cry. Next up, we got Adila, playing as the Eldar Warlock. The Warlock is a melee hero and also spellcasting hero. Starts out with Destructor and just his sword, so you can tie things up and then use Destructor on squads. You can also upgrade him, depending on how you want to upgrade him. You can make him a melee tank, you can make him an offensive spellcaster, and you can even be a bit of a support spellcaster. Their opponents, first of all, we've got Free Willy playing as the Eldar Spider Exarch. The Spider Exarch is a teleporting ranged hero. He actually fights pretty well in melee as well, especially if you get the power blades. And he can teleport around, tie things up. Good for map control, especially in 1v1. We don't have 1v1 here, but you can still definitely do some backcapping with him in 2v2 as well. Finally, we've got Boom playing as the Chaos Lord. The Chaos Lord is yet another tanky melee hero. This one walks around in Terminator armor. He starts out with a combi bolter and a demon sword. Not a whole lot of damage out of either one, but more range damage than most other melee heroes to start out, and you can upgrade him to get even more range damage, and you can also get some much better melee weapons as well. Alright, so we've got some heretics capturing in the middle. It looks like the blue team took an early lead in VPs, 500 to 460. It's now a 1-1. However, it looks like Adila has kind of been forced off the field. I remember seeing his Dire Avengers in retreat. Meanwhile, so Phoenix is definitely out on the field. Adila's out on the field as well. He's got his Warlock actually shooting in ranged. And we've got a double Chaos Space Marine play for Boom. This is double Chaos Space Marines with the Chaos Lord. You can definitely be pretty aggressive with this. However, I don't really like using the worship and then just having them stand behind the victory point. The victory point, certainly as far as I know, is not and has never been acting as cover. So you can use that worship to be aggressive, to get your Chaos Space Marines into cover very quickly, or to get them into melee very quickly. This is actually now really bad positioning for Boom, because these Howling Banshees are going to go after these Chaos Heretics. I know most of the stuff is happening here, and a Spider Exarch went down, but so did a squad of Heretics for Boom. So unfortunately there, he kept those Heretics out on the field just too long, and then really lost sight of them once those Howling Banshees came around. Now his Chaos Space Marines are in a lot of trouble. I actually think he should pretty much get them out of there, or he should use a... Yeah, alright, so he retreats the Chaos Space Marines. He does lose a Chaos Space Marine model from that engagement, and here we're going to see a grenade on the Chaos Space Marines. Takes out two models. No, well, it did take out two models, but it took out two models of one of the squads, so that was a wipe. And that was from Adila, and Adila is definitely known for his retreat grenades. Adila, I think Adila is an Eldar main. He plays a lot of different things these days. He's also been doing a lot of orcs. He definitely does a little bit of Space Marines as well, but I'm pretty sure Eldar is his main, and I think he's very, very good at those retreat grenades. And the victory points have actually not really changed much, but man, some things definitely did change. The red team really took some losses there. They lost the Spider Exarch. Shouldn't actually be a hard revive for the Chaos Lord. And then Boom lost Chaos Space Marines and Heretics. Luckily the Heretic loss isn't so big, but he lost Chaos Space Marines on top of that, so he's going to be hurting a little bit right now. He's got a pretty short build, considering I think he was actually the first to have a 4-squad build. Adila, meanwhile, now has some Rangers on top of his double Dire Avengers and his Howling Banshee. He's actually pretty slow to get the... Well, now he's getting his aspects. He wanted to get the Rangers out first before getting his aspects. Get it out as soon as he could. And he can use that for a lot of different purposes. The Rangers right now are going to be pretty good. He's actually using it to bleed Heretic models. I actually think he should target the Havocs first. I think that would... Oh, that ends up being really, really bad for him. Very, very nice. Some really great play from Adila at this point. He unfortunately got his his Dire Avengers detected. He used a hollow field from the Rangers to infiltrate the Dire Avengers, but they got detected by the Heretics, and then they just got suppressed by the Havocs. But that combination of the grenades and the kinetic pulse did very well for Adila. Not as well as his other grenades, but, I mean, he still forced the Heretics off, definitely bled a lot of their models, and halted Boom's advance, although he still got his Dire Avengers off the field. Adila is having a little bit of trouble staying on the field at the moment. He is getting forced off the most frequently. Now we've got some Howling Banshees from Free Willy coming over here to just bash power. And, I mean, Howling Banshees, I think they're great for bashing power. They are just a melee unit, so they have high damage. They're going to do damage to the generators fairly quickly, relatively quickly. Not as fast as a flamer, but still pretty quickly. Now, I think, you know, this is tricky, but I think a unit like Howling Banshees, I think they do power melee damage, and I'm guessing that the power... This is actually one of the cases where I'm actually really not sure. I'm guessing that the power melee damage does more damage to the generators, their light building armor, than regular melee damage, because I noticed that Howling Banshees seem to be a lot better at bashing generators than Heretics. Oh my god, really bad positioning. That's going to be it for Adila's Rangers. I don't know what they were doing in that position, but... what is going on, actually? We've got infiltration, like, on the Warpsider Exarch. It's getting really, really confusing. But now this could actually be... Oh, I was going to say it could be a bad positioning for those Heretics, but they definitely lost a lot of models. So Adila, unfortunately, lost his Rangers pretty early. And already we've got players going to Tier 2. Phoenix and Adila going to Tier 2. He's already got... Let's see. Phoenix already has an Assault Marine Sergeant queued up. And that seems interesting for just... like, just to have that as a choice queued up before you've even gotten to Tier 2, just to prioritize getting a Sergeant. I feel like it's not something I would do personally, but that's not to say that it's a bad thing. Just everybody has different ways of thinking, and certainly the ways that one person would do thing might be the way that someone else would never even think to do something. But I mean, I can certainly reason what the Assault Marine Sergeant is going to give him. It's going to make his Assault Marines more durable, so they're going to be harder to force off the field. He does also get Merciless Strike on his Assault Marines, and that will, I think, be especially... that's an especially good choice against Eldar, just to have yet another thing to disrupt Howling Banshees with. And it really does make a huge difference against Howling Banshees, just having everything you need to deal with Howling Banshees, since they are so threatening. And Phoenix actually seems like he's really going in as far as having things that he can use to disrupt Howling Banshees. That being said, I think either we're going to need to see Merciless Strike or a Shotgun Blast to get these Howling Banshees off, because otherwise the Assault Marine's taking too much damage. Grenade goes in, actually does surprisingly little damage right there. But now we also have a Blood Crusher out from Boom, and there's really not enough AV to deal with this Blood Crusher at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Assault Marines upgrading to Thunder and Lightning on the spot. That gives them both Blind Grenades and Melt-A-Bomb. Blind Grenades, nobody ever uses them or knows about them because they only work against garrisons, and garrisons don't even exist on this map. But there we also go with the Let the Galaxy Burn, gonna knock over a bunch of things as well as disrupting some things, and now we actually do have a lot to threaten this Blood Crusher. A Melt-A-Bomb goes in, and Howling Banshees are definitely being threatening with their just with their heavy melee Exarch Executioner Spear, and oh my god, so Boom getting hit so hard, and you know what? I think he's going to lose this Blood Crusher, and in fact he does. The roar from the Blood Crusher does not do enough to get those Howling Banshees off of him, and Boom ends up losing a lot of stuff. And the Warlock also just might go down here, but actually I don't think he will, unless if the Chaos Lord can just get one more strike, but he's not even close. Alright, so Chaos Lord has switched out to the Lightning Claws. Now the Chaos Lord is a little bit interesting in that switching to either of his upgraded melee weapons, you give up range damage entirely, and he otherwise starts out with decent range damage, and you can even upgrade it to get better range damage. He used the Destructive Strike ability from the Lightning Claws right there, actually just kind of misses entirely, used it way too early. I don't know what happened there, just really mistimed it. I feel like that seemed kind of obvious, but maybe it was just nervous jitters or whatever. But Free Willy doing a little better on squad preservation, now has a squad of Warp Spiders out on the field, Grenade goes in, this time completely dodged by both Free Willy and Boom, although Boom actually not really there, mostly dodged by Free Willy. We've actually got Grenade Launcher Heretics out of Boom, and I'm a little surprised to see this. Certainly would work well against the Dire Avengers as well as well, mainly against the Dire Avengers. However, it does... He's giving up something that he could use to control the Howling Banshees. Just giving up a melee squad of Heretics. He's giving up Doom Blast. That means that he can't Doom Blast... he just can't Doom Blast Howling Banshees if they decide to get close. Here we have a Warp Throw into some Howling Banshees. They are actually... But they're in melee with the other squad of Howling Banshees. They end up just needing to get out of there, and that's now really, really bad for them. That Warp Throw ultimately wasn't very successful, and now we have a Warlock in a terrible position. He got knocked over by something. I'm not even sure what. But luckily, the Wraith Lord is out here for Adila. Oh, just kills 2 models. 3 models go down for the Howling Banshees. Adila trying to chase with grenades, but I think if anything, it's going to need to be Phoenix chasing with grenades, but I'm totally wrong, and it ends up being not even necessary. And though that squad of Howling Banshees just went down. So Phoenix and Adila definitely in the stronger position at the moment. Free Willy and Boom have just lost a lot of stuff. Free Willy now losing his Howling Banshees. Phoenix actually going pretty lean on his army composition, really choosing to focus on upgrades. He has Assault Marines there. They're taking a huge amount of damage, and they do manage to jump on the Dire Avengers, but the Warp Spiders just teleport out of the way, and now Assault Marine models are dying. So we also have a Shotgun Blast, but a grenade goes in on the Scouts, and they don't, and Phoenix does not react. Howling Warp Fighters just still teleporting out of there, just being really annoying, and this is definitely one of the things that can be so great about them. They can always just keep retreating with their teleport, and then just be in a position to do a huge amount of damage, and it really helps that they also do a huge amount of damage. Because just in the time that it takes to try to catch up with Warp Spiders after they've teleported, that's enough time for them to definitely kill a model off of any non-power armor squad, although the power armor squads are a little bit better. Stern Guard veterans actually are going to counter Warp Spiders. So that is a good reason to get those Stern Guard veterans. Phoenix, but really, wow, Phoenix really choosing, did not get any actual units in Tier 2. Only got upgrades, upgraded his Assault Marines, upgraded the Force Commander fully. Now has Artificer armor, and he got a squad of Stern Guard veterans, but he did not get any units, and he's only had 3 squads in Tier 2, which is pretty amazing. It's, again, certainly something I would never do. Dylan, meanwhile, he did get his Wraith Lord, and he's just really been riding on the power of that, and he's really choosing to emphasize his Wraith Lord. He's really been using it a lot in ranged, since you can use it pretty safely with the Shuriken Cannon. It will do a lot of range damage. He's got double Dire Avengers for repair support, and he's getting the Wraithbone upgrade in Tier 2 so that it can heal by itself, even if the Dire Avengers get forced off the field. But we do have our first Fire Prism out for Free Willy. I feel like you will inevitably see a Fire Prism out from just about any Eldar player in any game. It's certainly possible that they'll get something else, but especially if you have multiple Eldar players in one game, I feel like you're almost guaranteed to see a Fire Prism. This might prompt a War Gear switch from the Force Commander, since if he switches out to the Power Fist, he might be able to threaten the Fire Prism by doing a quick teleport and then a Flesh over Steel. Alright, Fire Prism now actually in a bit of a bad position, gets hit by the Haywire, and we've got the Fire Prism out here as well. I feel like these Banshees they should be in a lot of trouble, but they haven't taken enough damage yet. They have at least managed to scare off the Guardian Weapon Team, and actually they just might take out this Fire Prism against all odds, but it might cost them their lives. And oh my god, they don't even take out the Fire Prism. Here is the Phobos from Boom. He also needs to get some Heretics out to support that with repair, and we also had a squad of, let's see, Dire Avengers went down for Free Willy as well. Meanwhile, VPs are now even. It was actually a huge VP lead for Free Willy and Boom, but this Wraith Lord is now done. It has no chance. He's trying to infiltrate it using the Cloak of Shadows, and he actually infiltrates it, and that's going to save the Wraith Lord. A very unused underused war gear for the Warlock. Infiltrates nearby units. They also receive less damage, and supposedly, at least at one point, I don't know if it's still true, there was a point where if you had the Cloak of Shadows with the Warlock, and you also used the Distort Field on him, he would actually become invincible. I think at least to range damage, maybe not to melee damage, but to range damage. But we've got some Terminators now out from Boom. Boom has not had good squad preservation, but, I mean, he's just buying new things, and Phoenix and Adila have not exactly been going heavy on squads, so it's not exactly squads or vehicles. They've been just choosing not to get that much stuff and just choosing to upgrade what they have, which may actually be part of what has allowed Boom to recover, because he's been losing things. He's been losing so many things, but I guess he isn't spending as much on upgrades, maybe. And he's just been getting out the units, so now he's got a Phobos and some Chaos Terminators. He doesn't even have any upgrades on his Terminators. Something like the autocannons on the Terminators would actually be very, very good for helping to deal with the Fire Prism. Since our Terminators are something that they will not get knocked down by the Fire Prism, which is one of the biggest strengths of the Fire Prism, and they can also do AV damage at range, and I think fairly long range. I don't know what the exact the range is exactly for the autocannon. I don't know if it's standard or above standard, but it might be better than standard range on their autocannon. Now, of course, if Adila chose to get something like an Avatar, then the Lightning Claws might be a little bit more desirable for these Terminators, although we've still got the Wraithlord and the Fire Prism around. Red team, meanwhile, are holding on to the double cap at the moment. Both teams, I just guess, deciding to hold and build things up. Adila, I suppose, actually waiting for the Avatar that he's building, and then Boom actually will want at least some kind of upgrade on these Terminators. I'm not sure which one he'll go for, but he's definitely going to want at least one of them. Either the autocannon to help him deal with Adila's vehicles, or the Lightning Claws to deal with the Avatar. But man, am I stupid, because this is actually Free Willy's Avatar. So, actually, autocannon would be best, and I think he should get that, especially now that he's got both the Wraithlord and the Fire Prism to deal with, because otherwise, if he's just shooting with the Terminators, they're not going to do anything to either of these units, and he'll just have to shoot at squads. And he can still shoot at squads just fine, even with an autocannon. Alright, but looks like finally they're deciding to push forward. Las Cannon Predator moving in, fully upgraded. He's going for it, probably wanted to get a Melta on that Fire Prism, but didn't get it off. He actually chooses to get the Melta on the Avatar. That puts the Avatar in he's snared, but the Fire, oh man, this Wraithlord is pretty much done, I would say. It is using Wraithlord to try to survive a little bit longer, but I think the positioning is just terrible, especially now with the Bright Lance. We've got some Warp Throw, I think, and yeah, I mean, the Wraithlord just goes down, didn't stand a chance. Actually, a Singularity, I think that fully wiped out a squad of Dire Avengers, or it just wiped out a bunch of them. The Warp Spiders, meanwhile, taking D-cannon shots from the D-cannon behind this energy shield. And the Land Raider Phobos also needs to be careful, because we still have a Las Cannon Predator. We've got a D-cannon, but the D-cannon, wow, what is going on with this angle? Terrible angle. Could have been taking shots at the Land Raider Phobos. As it is, it's only going to be the Predator, as well as now the Assault Terminators. Assault Terminators need to be careful. They actually go for the Fire Prism, and they do take it out, so actually pretty nicely played. Now they're going to go for the Chaos Lord to take him out. Oh no. Or they're going to go for, well, they're just going to go for forcing things off. They are in a very risky situation, because they have already used their teleport. We do have some Zinj Chaos Space Marines targeting them. We also have some Terminators right here. And the Assault Terminators actually managed to not lose a single model despite losing 4,000 health. Alright, we've got the D-cannon taking shots at the Land Raider Phobos right now. Dire Avengers, what are they doing? They are in a lot of trouble right now. Lost a lot of models on those Dire Avengers. Wow, he lost 9 models in total. And the Land Raider Phobos really did not take a whole lot of damage in that engagement. But that is the blue team now holding on to the double cap, 217 to 125. Williams says he's going to poke. I have no idea what that means. But he's, oh my god, he's putting his Land Raider Phobos in a huge amount of trouble. D-Cannon still has, is still in range, although I think now at this point Adila is probably attacking ground to go after the Land Raider Phobos. And, I see, we see Free Willy right here using the Warp Spider Exarch. He's using the late game War Gears of the Warp Spider Exarch instead of a lot of the early game War Gears. He does have the Shimmer Orb. That is something that just creates a barrier that prevents all incoming and outgoing range damage. It can often be used to capture a point. And we saw him use that. It did go down, but, I mean, actually, right now he's not even being shot at. Free Willy also has the Phase Armor. The Phase Armor allows you to put units in stasis, both enemy and friendly, and it's frequently used against enemy units. Oh my god, those Dire Avengers getting torn apart by singularities. Frequently used against enemy units in combination with an Eldritch Storm. The stasis, of course, all units are invincible when they are in stasis, but if you time it right with the Eldritch Storm, you can do it so that the stasis ends just as soon as the Eldritch Storm goes off. And I have a feeling we're going to see that from Free Willy because of the fact that he's gotten that War Gear and he's stockpiling red. But now we have a Las Cannon Predator out of Boom. Now the Las Cannon Predator from the Chaos Army is a little bit weaker. Chaos Space Marines are nearly getting wiped right there. Actually, it's just a little bit less durable because it can't get that extra armor upgrade for the extra 200 hit points. Avatar, meanwhile, is getting scared off a little bit. Boom and Free Willy managed to get the double cap again, but they are low on VPs. They are now in double digits in real VPs. A little bit of a skull there. And we have also got a model on the ground. Alright. A little bit of a lull in the action again, but we do have a decap off. A decap going off by Adila. Looks like Boom has not noticed yet, or has he? Moving in with some Chaos Space Marines. These Chaos Space Marines have really been in the background, but they are level 3, and they do a huge amount of damage, so they may actually be pretty influential. So Adila is going to get this capture off. Grenades from the grenade launcher heretics miss, and now we finally have an autocannon upgrade from these Terminators. I actually feel it might be more worth their while to capture with the Chaos Lord instead of the Terminators, so that the Terminators could be over here, although the Terminators need to be careful about taking shots, but they are just going to do better in terms of, well, we do have a Chaos Lord, level 5, is using Honor of the Inferno to scare off infantry units. Got a lot of long-range weapons, and here we go. Force Commander has upgraded to the Power Fist, but man, he was just kind of running around, and hopefully nothing happened. Is this going to be an Eldritch Storm or another Singularity? That's got to be a Singularity. Pulls in Assault Marines. Assault Marines actually nearly get wiped from that Singularity, especially because I think that was a friendly Singularity. It had to be, actually. Or did it have to be? Yeah, because Free Willy's Singularity... Well, no. Yeah, that was a friendly Singularity. And Phoenix ends up losing his Assault Marines in part because of that Singularity. Oh my god, look at all the las cannons chasing down this Predator. And I guess the combination of a Chaos Predator as well as this Land Raider Phobos just really, really threatening. Predator's now, the Chaos Predator chasing after the Fire Prisms, but it's going to cost it its life. I think it's probably going to get hit one more time, and two more times. Completely unnecessary, but the Chaos Predator goes down. Was just really pushing hard for the Predator, and then started targeting the Fire Prisms, but a little too risky. We do have a Warlock now with Providence active, so he switched out the Cloak of Shadows, got Providence. Now he's also getting the Witchblade of Kurnos. And I've definitely said before in a game that I had also cast today, although it may not upload on the same day, that the Witchblade of Kurnos and the Warp Throw, they do kind of synergize a bit with Providence. I'd say if you're going to get Providence, these are the best choices for the War Gears that will synergize with it, since you can just repeatedly use Ethereal Slash and Warp Throw. Providence charges with damage, and then... Ooh, Terminators nearly died. Charges with damage, and then when it is active, the Warlock goes invulnerable, reduces cooldowns, and restores energy. And again, we have just a little bit of a lull in the action. VP is now very even, 99 to 77, both in the double digits. Red team about to get the double cap with these Chaos Space Marines capturing the point, almost level 4 at this point. We've got some D-cannon shots going in. Just a lot, man. Adila really has stocked up on artillery. He's got double fire prisms and double D-cannons that can really do a lot to whittle down the chaos composition, especially the chaos composition, before they get in. However, one of these fire prisms now in a lot of trouble, has managed to get out of range of the Land Raider Phobos' las cannons. Alright, Avatar moving forward. VP is now pretty much even with the red team, finally taking a lead again, 71 to 77. Avatar just walking around. To be honest, Avatar is just taking damage, although the Avatar can also just be threatening just by moving forward, and then it's like, oh, if the Avatar moves forward, you need to move back. A new Predator out for Boom. This one not with any mark yet, in part because he can't afford most of the marks at the moment. Well, actually, well, now he definitely can't because he just spent some power. Alright, Avatar taking a lot of long-range shots from these fire prisms. And I don't think this Warlock is going to be able to capture the point. In fact, goes down in the process. Now we've got some scouts trying to cap under infiltration, and I think, yeah, they'll get the decap off, which actually gives, let's see, that's the blue team, a slight advantage as long as they have a single cap. Boom working on turning it back into a 1-to-1 cap again. And the red team's still out here in the middle, so they should put something on the point and do it fast. I mean, don't give them room to breathe. Put on that pressure. Instead of just leaving this point uncapped, they've got a bunch of things here. 1-to-1 cap. I mean, the Warp Spiders right now not doing anything, so they can go on the point. It's actually the Chaos Lord from Boom that decides to take up the capture. And man, what do we got going here? We've got Assault Terminators chasing down a Fire Prism. I don't know if that's definitely risky. It does also tax. Let's see, this is Free Willy. Is this Free Willy? Yeah, this is also taxing Free Willy's micro. I think they will, yeah, they will get it, but it looks like Adila lost both of his fire prisms. Where did they go down? I don't even know. But double cap for the red team. We've got an invincible Warlock on the point. He can actually use Ethereal Slash and keep capping, and he'll probably use Ethereal Slash again, definitely going to whittle down the health of these Terminators. It kind of works out decently. And here's another one, another Ethereal Slash. However, I think Providence has finally worn off, and he's using Distort Field as well, I believe. And, I mean, for the most part, these Terminators need to force melee. They're not quite doing what they should be doing. And finally, the Warlock gets out of there, just stayed on there and captured the point. We're going to have some kind of call in, probably more Terminators. And here we've got some ranged Terminators from Phoenix. So, Phoenix, I actually think it would be a decent choice for him to get a Cyclone missile launcher on these Terminators. If and when he can afford it, he can use that to scare off the Predator as well as the Land Raider focus a little bit. This Predator actually in a very precarious position. I feel like the D-Cannon is in range, and if it can get sight, here is an Eldritch Storm on top of an Imperial Abyss. Oh my god. Meanwhile, over here, I did not want to look away to that Eldritch and that Imperial Abyss because I figured the Predator was going to go down right then and there. And I think what happened was Adila got sight on the Predator with that Autarch call in, and then the D-Cannon just took a shot. That Autarch, meanwhile, in a lot of trouble herself, and it's actually a single cap game, soon to actually be a triple cap for the red team, which means this is probably going to be their game. Singularity goes off in the middle, and we've got Adila going for another back cap. But I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think they have enough time, especially not with Boom over here getting a capture, unless he can just scare off these Chaos Space Marines with D-Cannons or even kill them outright, which is actually not entirely impossible. In fact, yeah, he scared them off, and even the Warp Spider's going to need to be careful, but that's still the end of the game.
Great is our shame.
All right. Hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.